Hello, Hollywood Times viewer, Judy Shields here. Today I'm so excited to welcome two gentlemen, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about them. Go ahead, Walter.
Good morning. Thank you for this. My name's Walter Josten. I am the CEO of Blue Rider Pictures. We've done about 210 films. In fact, we've got a new one out in the theaters that just I saw last night called Locked with Anthony Hopkins. But one of my favorite things that I've ever done is to produce this film, SoCal Snowy Owl. So very excited to be here to talk about it with you guys.
Great. Thank you, Walter. And I'm Christopher Angel. I'm an independent filmmaker, and I was brought on by Walter to be the director of this documentary, SoCal Snowy Owl. And what that means is that I was sort of responsible for the day-to-day creative, for being on set, for supervising the edit, and worked with this whole team to make this movie. But that's something I've done. I'm sort of a writer and a director and an editor, so I have experience in all those realms, and I like to bring that to making films that I'm passionate about, like this one.
Yeah, folks, both Walter and Chris are here today to talk about their new documentary, which is part of PBS SoCal's 2025 Earth Month, featuring 15 new titles, headlined by the world broadcast of Chris and Walter's new 30-minute documentary called SoCal Snowy Owl, which, Walter, you got an amazing shirt there with a beautiful, oh,
Yeah, this is one of my favorite shots from the film. It's a shot that we use when one of the young kids that were at that was at the site to see the bird got to look at it through a viewing device. And the one thing she said was how beautiful it was to see this bird. And when it looked at her with its big yellow eyes, she just felt happy. So we use this shot for our t-shirt.
it's beautiful. Well, Chris, folks, I have to tell you that I read that Chris is a bird watcher, which is they're known as birders. So how did this come about? How did you find out about her, the snowy owl?
So I first found out by reading in the newspaper that this rare snowy owl is in Southern California. I think I read it first in the New York Times, then the LA Times. And I went bird watching at Bolsa Chica Reserve, which is in the movie, and it's one of the best bird watching sites here in Southern California. So I was going there on January 2nd anyway, and I read that the snowy owl was in Orange County, and I was like, oh, well, on the way back, I'm going to stop and see if I can see this wild bird. And I did, and it was this amazing moment to sort of get to see this bird that I'd never even seen before in the Southern Cal suburb. And then I got a call later that week from Walter, and I thought he was calling. He was calling. He knows I'm a bird watcher, and he's also a bird watcher and loves birds. And I thought he was calling to tell me that this owl was in Southern California, which he was. But I said, oh, I've already seen it. I have these photographs. And we started talking about it. He's like, well, actually, I'm looking for somebody to direct a documentary. So, Walter, maybe you can tell about how you came up with the idea to do a documentary.
Sure. Well, it's similar to yours. I saw articles in the LA Times and the Orange County Register about the bird, and I thought at first it was fake news because I've been following birds and loving birds ever since I was a kid in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and saw a snowy owl, in almost the same setting in Cypress when I was about 10 years old and never forgot it. And so when I read about this, I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And I belong to an organization called the SoCal Bluebird Club. And I called one of the members and they said, yeah, this is real. So I drove up to drive to go around Cypress because that's what the article said, that it was in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
And they mentioned a guy named Roy Roush, who was the quote owl whisperer, who was working on every morning going out and finding the owls. So after I saw the owl, I reached out to Roy, and then my next call was to Chris.
So what did both of you think when you got there? I heard there was a lot. Was there a lot of people when you got there? What did you think when you saw her being a bird watcher?
Yeah, I was surprised. So I actually brought my son, who
Yeah.
was 11, and he's not a birder really, but he's very patient and he'll take me to see birds. And I had to warn him that, this is a wild animal. I didn't know if it was going to be there. I'd read the reports online and read the newspaper reports, but I'm like, it's a bird. It could fly away. They can be shy. And so I pulled up into the neighborhood and I saw one guy with a huge camera on his shoulder. And I drove up and I rolled my window down and I said, do you know where the snowy owl is? And he laughed. He's like, if you just go around the corner, You won't miss it, trust me. So I did. I drove around the corner, and I think we all had this experience. There were like 150 people in the street looking at this owl, and the owl was amazing because it didn't seem to care. It was sitting on a rooftop, very open, very easy to see. And it was an amazing experience for myself and for my son, for any kid, I think, who came, anybody who came. It wasn't difficult birding in a swamp or in a forest. It was really right on top of a house in a suburb.
What about you, Walter?
Yeah, same experience. I started driving around Cypress where I thought it might be, and the person who suggested I go up and see it. And I didn't get very far. I turned a corner, and as Chris said, there were like 150 people staring up at the roof of this house. And across the street, on one side of the street, there were quite a few people, but on the other side of the street were all these what looked to be like the world-class photographers like you'd see on the red carpet at the Academy Awards, and they all had these giant lenses trained on this roof. And so I just turned and looked, and there it was. But where I parked my car was about a block away because there were so many people there. So when I had walked past the area, I noticed that the house that the bird was on, there was a driveway behind where everybody was looking, and I could walk up that driveway and see the bird from behind with nobody in front of me. And it was just really, it was a special moment, as Chris said, just to stand there and look at this creature. And she just looked right in my eyes, and with those big yellow eyes, it was beautiful.
I know it's like it's not even real when you what folks, I've seen the documentary, and let me tell you, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I was so thankful to have seen it. I was touched, and it moved me to tears. You know.
We're, that's so nice to hear. Yeah, thank you. That's what we hoped would happen. And, to inspire kids, especially. Our grandson has a little moment in the film. And, the whole idea, and Chris's son is in the film.
Oh,
And we interviewed a number of other kids, and Adam Ansari, one of our favorite photographers who did so much beautiful work and is a producer with us on it. His daughters are
yeah.
interviewed in the film. And so, they're the next, they're going to carry the torch and make sure that these creatures are protected and safe and revered. And I think that's what the film will help get across.
Were both of you involved in the editing part? And what was that like to see all that? I mean, how was it? Would it have been an hour? Could it be part two? I mean, what do you have for us?
Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, so we actually worked with an editor that Walter had worked with before named Philip Braun, and he was great because he came on set with us as what they would call like a line producer or a producer
Yeah.
on set.
Okay.
And then he actually lives in New Orleans. But because he'd been on set, he knew all the footage. He'd talked to me a lot about what I wanted. He talked to Walter a lot about what he wanted. And we said, okay, Philip, go ahead and put this together. So he edited it all and then sent us versions of it. And we had these conversations. So it was a really great process because he was like the perfect guy who had understanding of the story, but also some objectivity from it, a little bit of distance.
Yeah.
And he really helped put it together. So the editing was great.
Yeah,
So
Philip
how,
is a fantastic editor, and we worked with him on another movie. And we had all the footage that we shot, obviously with Chris, but then also one of the stars of our film is Denver Holt, who is a world-class expert on owls. He is backed by the Annenberg Foundation. Every year for 36 years, he has monitored snowy owl nest sites up in Alaska, and he was actually brought down by the Sea and Sage Audubon Society. Gail Richards brought him down to Cypress to do a talk at the Civic Center. Unfortunately, Denver was about 2 or 3 days late, and the bird had already left. He never got to
oh,
see it. But it was a beautiful event. About 800 people, besides Zoom or including Zoom and in person, saw that talk. And we were shooting another movie up in Montana, and I asked the EPK guys who were doing the electronic press kit for the film if they could run out and get to Denver and shoot some extra footage so we could get his interview. So we did that. But then Adam and Roy and a number of the other photographers, Roy's had a Facebook group that probably had 100 photographers, I think, involved.
Oh,
And they started contributing images. And then there were all the local press. So we just cobbled all that together. And as Chris said, it was about a year's worth of trying to figure this all out and put it into a 30-minute piece.
oh,
As Walter's sort of talking about, really the thing that I discovered that surprised me is I started it with this love for a bird, and I'm a bird watcher, and I like
yeah,
natural history, and Walter does as well. But obviously, we found a community, this
yes,
community of Cypress, California, and they wanted to help us, and they wanted to see their story told, and then that actually became the story of the documentary. I mean, it's
yes.
to me, it's as much about the people in the community whose lives were touched by this owl showing up and how it changed them as it is about the owl. It's about both of these things, but they go together. And to me, like that's really powerful. And that was a really fun discovery in the process of making this film.
I mean, seeing the owl will make the viewers go just fall in love. But when you look at the story, I mean, that's what brought me to tears. I have to tell both of you, when I was done watching it, I actually went two doors down from a neighbor that I've never met and talked to them. It just changed me because we all have a story and we all live around each other. And it's like, I think it's inspired me, so I know it's going to inspire other because it's such a beautiful and moving documentary. So, Chris, tell us how our viewers can see this.
All right, so it is actually going to be on PBS SoCal on Monday, April 28th at 4 p.m. So in Southern California, you can tune in and watch it live. And then it's also available for streaming on the PBS app and on pbs.org. So if you're excited to see it right away, you can stream it, and then hopefully you can join us on Monday the 28th to watch it on PBS SoCal. And then it's also going to be rolling out across the nation on different your local PBS stations. So if people have to check their local listings, it'll be different times each market, but people will be able to watch it all over the country.
And I understand it's part of the Newport Beach Film Festival. It's going to be screening there as well.
Greg Schwenk is a friend of ours. I live down in the area near
Okay.
Newport Beach, and Greg is the founder. And it was the 25th anniversary this past October of that film festival. And it just so happened that one of our other films, Christoph Waltz's Lucy Liu picture called Old Guy, was selected to be the opening night film at the film festival. And we had also submitted SoCal Snowy to the festival, geez, back in, it must have been like April, Chris, somewhere around there. And we hadn't heard back if they had accepted that movie. So I called Greg and asked him about that. And he said, well, we haven't gotten to the documentaries yet. And I told him about it. And he said, oh, yeah, well, we'll check it out. Well, 2 days later, he called and said, we love this. And so the second night of the festival, we had a world premiere at the newly renovated Lido Theater on Balboa Island that McGee is one of the owners of that theater, and he helped renovate it. And we had our world premiere, and 450 people came to see it that night, loved the movie. And then we were lucky enough to win the Audience Award for the best documentary short over 130 other films, and very excited about that.
And speaking of renovated theaters, there are two more screenings coming up in Southern California in
Okay.
April. And April's Earth Month, so that's also part of the programming on PBS. But there is a screening on Thursday, April 10th at the Rivian South Coast Theater, starting at 6:30 p.m. But you do have to, it's free, but you do have to register ahead of time. So Google that if you want to come. And then another one that I'm really excited about is on Thursday, April 24th, presented by PBS. We are screening at the Natural History Museum here in Los Angeles, so near USC. And that is also at 6:30. And we're also with another film called Transforming the Los Angeles River. So two shorts are screening live. And I will be, and Walter will be at both of these screenings, among other people. So there'll be a Q&A after the film and some other special guests. I hope that if you're around and interested, hope that people can come in person.
I will be there for sure.
That would be great. Thank you. I'd love to see you in person. Yes, that'd be great.
We'll see you then. Thank you both, Walter and Christopher, for talking with us at the Hollywood Times. I will put up different links and stuff so our viewers can sign up for these and see it on. They have to see it. It's a must-see film. Oh my goodness, it will change your life a little.
Oh,
And as a
that's so
filmmaker, I do
great.
love projecting it, obviously. So we'd love to have it in a theater. Sorry, Walter, go ahead.
Yes, I
No,
can't wait to
that's
see it in theater.
yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time and uh, helping us get the word out about the film.
Yes, for sure. Thank you both so much.
Thanks.